So today is Figma. We're looking at a design tool today. Probably heard of it. It's often mentioned in the same breath as Sketch and InVision and all these variations. I guess people found that Photoshop was becoming too bloated as a design tool because it was trying to service all types of illustration and artwork and so on, photography. Whereas tools like Sketch and Figma are kind of focused very much on web design and vector-based web application designing. So they can offer that thought around components, design systems, media queries, and device-specific work. And they've kind of become a standard. Figma's particular strength is it has this real-time, a bit like Google Docs, is that multiple people can collaborate at once on a design tool, which probably makes it really useful for collaborative work. If, for example, you're in a pandemic where you can't work in person together. But it's also got all kinds of great features that are about collaborative components that work together. And also that Figma has this open API, which means tools like this, overlay, lots of things let you export your designs or let people build plugins that integrate with your designs. So you see a lot of things that do designs that convert straight into React components, or designs which will immediately pull out stats about assets and values and things. So it seems really well built for developer setups, and we'll probably see a lot of useful integrations in future. If you're a developer thinking this doesn't really apply to me, I'm not really a designer and I don't see myself doing design, I suppose I'd think a little like those conversations that occasionally come up about should designers learn to code. And the argument is sometimes that by having a little bit of context about the actual technologies that go behind building something, it will help you to design because you'll be thinking more about the limitations, the restrictions on things. Similarly, you might say that developers learning a little bit about design, understanding a little bit about how things are put together or some of the important rules in structuring something might help you. But also in a discussion, if you're trying to explain an idea and you have a quick design tool, Figma is completely free to just sign up and quickly ping an idea out. Might be worth just knowing some basics of it. We're going to start with an iPhone 8. Why not? Give it a go. So first thing straight away, you can do Command minus Command plus, but you can also just use a quick drag to set a zoom size, which is really pleasant to do. So we have our one border on the background. So we have our one tile on the background here. I want to add a colored background. You can see it's inside, so I can drag from around the outside bounds here, and it stays within the bounds of the screen. Let's change that. Maybe something soft. Lots of grey. So the project is going to offer, it's going to be a kind of mock-up of a running app that's going to offer people different types of running challenges they can do. That's the current plan. So I guess I'll want a title. I don't know, 5 results found. Get down here. Quickly knock this up. 34. It's not too much of a strict grid. I'm really trying to mock something up, and then we'll have cards here that have the results. Now I have to think. I can click and align. So you see how I drag it, just kind of clicks it there and shows me it's aligned with the text. I'm not working off a very strict system, but that's quite handy. Again, I should probably get even margins either side, but that looks fine for now. So I'm just clicking and dragging to increase the radius there on the corners. Let's leave it at 30, so we can have these chunky round corners. Heighten that slightly. Now, what you usually do in this situation is work out all your styles for your box, and then later on you'd copy it. And in old systems, that would be a problem, that if you later on want to make it a change to that box component, you're going to have to go through and change it to every one. Instead here, I just right click and say create component, which is done up here. That's what that icon means. I'm going to call this like result card. And then if I go to assets, it's here now as my new component. So I can drag a second copy here. That helpfully tells me it just suddenly clicked and went, ooh, that gives it even spacing there between your top and your box, fine. And I can carry on working on it knowing that this one is the parent, this is the one it's based off of, and it will continue to work for me in here. So in here I can give it the text of, you know, the big mountain. That's gonna sit in there slightly. This box should have a different background. It should be like a soft color. I guess each one will have its own. So we'll settle that. This one will have a different text. So something like text content, it knows there's probably going to be different between them. I don't know. Riverside challenge. I don't know. So even though they're the same component, they will share styles. So if I change text size or text color, that's a general component change. Whereas something like the actual text content, it's assumed will probably be different between the variations. However, there is option here on my second version to say detach instance. That is, say, unclip me. All these styles now are going to just belong to this. I started off as a component, but now I'm going rogue and going on my own. Or I can say push override. So I can make a bunch of changes. Here we go, and I'm saying no, I want them all to be like this one I've been working on. So you've also got that little bit of control there about to what extent this is a shared component and how much of the styles you're going to share across them and how much it's going to be its own separate thing. It's helpful to have that because you might go quite far down a path and then suddenly decide, actually this is its own type of thing. And design systems often work like that, and you start with a button component, then later on there's kind of a link and a button, and then there's a active button and a cancel button. So you're going to keep making adaptations and variations, but then eventually you might say, oh, this one is actually a button linked to a checkbox and it's kind of its own thing, so we need to detach and get away. That's fine. I've got this mountain photo. Let's just copy this quickly. So inside here, I'm going to make a rectangle, paste the image in. That's gonna go inside here. That's no good. What I can do is use as mask. Nice. Then I'll bring in this bright sun on the second one. There we go, nice. Now actually it would be nicer if the background was a bit more colourful. I'll make this a more colourful thing. So up here, instead of a solid colour, let's go for a gradient. Gonna point it at a bit of an angle. This left side can be something more, let's make it something more kind of pink, I don't know. This top side here can be like a, yeah, that's quite nice. This has got quite low opacity. Yeah, cool. Something like this in the past, you would design it and then you know, you feel like, oh, I have no idea how we do that in code. And luckily there's an inspect tab here which will just give you the actual CSS for it, including the angle and the values, so you can, if ever you need to, just copy them. There's 100 tools out there which say, hey, no more code, you can build websites without code, you just generate a design, you click a button, it generates it. And I don't really trust them because I wouldn't want to kind of allow it to just bundle up a bunch of mess, because it would have to really understand what my thinking was. Whereas something which just says, we'll give you the code reference if ever you need, that's quite helpful, it's quite reliable. Right, this is not standing out. Let's make this bold, and That's not nice either. Medium, sure. What I want now is a color. What's helpful is up here it will also keep a quick reference of colors you've used recently. I go, okay, I want, well, not that, but maybe this. I'll make a new dark purple, and maybe we're gonna make these headings uppercase like this. And yeah, again, helpfully it's going to make the change for this one underneath as well. Knock that up a little bit. Then, okay, maybe I need some sort of indicator on here to tell you how many points they're worth or how much you can score. We'll put something in the corner here. You can also do, you can align at the bottom and then do like a shift direction. It will do it in increments of 10, so I can go, that's 20 pixels from the corner. Maybe I want to use my new deep purple color that I've just recently set. Boom. A bit of text. This is a 4 point. Make that white. This can be bold. That's quite large, isn't it? Let's go 36. Center that and then make the box a little smaller. Also, just constantly giving you those pixel. I'm obviously being a bit rough with this. I'm just throwing numbers together, but it's quite helpful if you're working off like a 10 pixel grid, a 15 pixel thing. You can kind of know what sizes you're getting to, or you can obviously just adjust them up here in the numbers. But I can throw that together. This heading now. We've started to suggest some rules about what text should look like randomly. So you should use my new purple and use this color and this thing. Tell you what, let's soften these to use their own colors. This one's gonna like that, and you're gonna use a soft blue like that. Let's close these. You can also lock them, meaning I won't accidentally drag them or change something, which might be quite handy. We'll lock all these layers. And I'm going to add a new menu along the bottom. Boom. Again, let's put this in so that nothing overlaps. White menu on the bottom. Gonna add a drop shadow. What's it? Y. Thing is also these values they give you are based off of CSS properties. When you add a drop shadow, that's what you add is the X, the Y, the blur, the spread. So it's not. That's always been a problem in the past, is about how you translate a design setting into an actual code setting. Whereas here it seems to have worked from the basis of like, we know this is going to eventually be code, so let's try and do something that would help you. There you go, a tiny drop shadow just to show that that's a top layer that's going to be fixed. Another helpful thing is there are a lot of assets out there. A lot of people often give away free kits. I found this the other week, 700 UI icons. So maybe I can find something quickly that will be useful. Let's just grab this. Enter. Set this to there. Fill color, we're going to use this new purple I've settled on as a brand color. Quick bit of text. Let's go say log out. It's going to use that new color that I've settled on. Let's just drag those over as copies just to get the idea. But let's drag these in there. These in there. Need some work. Okay, well, you get the idea, is that like it's not a well thought out, it's a quickly thrown together design, but in terms of something that could help you maybe sit with a design and quickly prototype an idea, or to examine why something might or might not work. It's fairly easy to quickly drag and click things together, but it's also a really nice tool for getting ideas. We reviewed the CSS Tricks website recently, where they talked about exactly this. They'd prototype the idea in Figma just to kick around shapes and colors to get the right idea, and then the rest they started designing in the browser when they were kind of quite happy with the setup. So I think it's quite a useful thing to have as a reference, and it being a free tool that you can open in a browser means you don't have to now suddenly get licenses for all your staff to try and get used to this, and you don't have to go on a training course. There's definitely a lot more to this that I understand. You could really get in depth with these component styles and make design settings and import libraries and do all kinds of things to make everything a lot more modular and clean, or you could work off grids to be a lot more precise. It's about how much work you're going to do before you actually get to building real things, and then how much work you're going to do to maintain them while the actual thing is built, and you're going to keep your designs in sync. But in terms of tools that's out there, Sketch is about 80 quid to buy. So in terms of things that you can very quickly play with and get an idea, if you're interested in getting into UI design a bit more, it's certainly one of the better options. But yeah, I mean, let me know what you think, or if there's other options out there. But that's Figma in a tiny nutshell. Thanks a lot.